Yeah, we're dorks. That's the last time. That's the last intro we're doing of this season.
Yeah.
Last episode. Cheers, David.
Cheers.
We've gotten through that. I might need a little more wine. We got started early. I hope you got started also. If you didn't see the video I posted earlier, open these wines up right away and let them breathe a little bit. You can pour a little bit in a glass. And then also, yeah, you know, we're going to start with the Syrah, but go ahead and put the Cab and the BDX in your refrigerator. And when we get to those wines, then you can pull them out and make sure you open them first, but then you can pull them out.
Unless you have them stored at cellar temperature, then that's fine.
Unless you keep your room temperature right now is 63 degrees or something, and you have a lot of money for PG&E.
I wish mine was
that. We don't do that. Anyway, hey, welcome to the Clarksburg Silt Show. I am Phil Ogilvie. This is my brother David.
I just made a mess.
And so that won't stain our white marble. Don't worry. So, welcome to the Silt Show. We're so glad you're here. This is our last episode of Season 1. And I know a lot of you guys have been on this journey the entire way. Thank you very, very much. I hope you've had such a great time. We sure have. We've learned a lot. We've talked about, this is our 10th episode.
Yeah.
And we've talked about, how to store wine properly. How to age wine. We've talked about
reclamation districts.
Yeah.
How Clarksburg got started.
Right. I mean, and our mission here at Silt Wine Company is to help you enjoy Clarksburg as much as we do. And of course, when you share this video, like I hope you do right now, you are participating in that mission. And as we always say, sharing is caring. So thank you very much for caring. It's hot. Keep those wines cool until we get to them. Open the wines if you haven't opened them. How to participate, engage, share this video, comment, write questions to David. We're going to talk about all three of these wines.
Heat is the topic today.
Yes, and then we're going to talk about heat stress in these vineyards. These vines are looking great out there.
They're doing okay.
They're doing way better than I am.
They're handling heat better than I am at home as well. So,
David, we're drinking my hand-picked season finale flight. Phil's finale flight. Tell us what we're drinking today.
So, my wonderful brother here, he chose. First, we're going to go through the Syrah, revisit that Syrah. Can't wait to hear why he picked that. Then we're going to get into the Cabernet Sauvignon, one of the crowd favorites. And then finish with the wonderful Clarksburg BDX, that Bordeaux blend that we've also grown to love.
Yeah.
So,
that's a good one.
Can't wait to get into these.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, hey, let's do some quick shout-outs. Do you have any shout-outs you want to?
I want to give a shout-out to my good buddy Sean Kellish and his family. He's works at another tasting room here. We were kind of talking here in Clarksburg. We were talking about how we're opening up, and just want to say shout-out to them. Hope to barbecue with you guys soon. I think he's watching today. Cheers, Sean. And then also I want to give a shout out to our cousin, wonderful cousin.
Yes.
Danny Wilson and his beautiful wife, Tessa Wilson. Congratulations, guys. They had a nice, very tiny wedding this past weekend.
We got to watch it on video.
We got to watch it on video.
It was pretty cool. Micro wedding.
Yes.
And our sister Robin helped set all that up. That was really cool. Yeah. I think we all had fun doing that. It's like I was there. So I got a shout out. This is kind of a cool one. Shannon sent this to me. I don't know if I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this, but shout out to two nurses. Jamie Kuhn, I'm going to guess. Jamie Kuhn. Sorry if I butchered your last name. And then also Andrew Martin. You guys are amazing. The two of them just received Nurses of the Year award.
Woo.
They're over at Palomar Medical Center, all the way down in Escondido.
Oh, wow.
That's like San Diego area.
Right on, guys.
So they are, their friends in the program there purchased this flight for the two of them, and they're all watching right now.
Awesome.
If they're not watching live, they're going to be watching the show at some point. And so cheers to you guys. Congratulations. Thank you, nurses, our heroes. We did a whole flight for you guys at one point called the Hero Flight. Thank you, nurses, for all the work you guys have been doing. We've been kind of celebrating nurses throughout the entire season 1. Just saying thank you to everybody. So,
nice work, guys.
Great work.
Congratulations on your achievement there.
Let's get to the Syrah, because I call the Syrah the sleeper wine, and I can go into
sleeper wine. So
that.
so let's ask Phil here. Why did you choose this wine?
Yeah, I feel like the roles reverse a little bit, right?
We're gonna reverse the roles.
Host David, and I'm just not I'm not the smart twin, but I do.
Does it taste like grapes?
It tastes a lot like grapes. Yeah. No, but I can't say I'm an opinionated twin.
Okay.
So I do have opinions from time to time, and I chose these 3 wines because not just that they're great. All our wines, I feel David has done a great job. All our wines are great. So kudos to you. But these ones surprised me. Every wine I chose surprised me. And you'll see why in each one. But the Syrah, I think the biggest reason I chose this one is I didn't know I liked Syrah. Some of you guys there with me, like you haven't had a Syrah before, or you don't remember having a Syrah. You know you've had a Syrah, but you don't remember it, what it tastes like or anything. That's what happened when I first drank this. Mm-hmm. I remember thinking like, gosh, I don't really typically order a Syrah. So I'm curious what this is going to be like.
So Syrah had its heyday in California in the 90s. Everyone started planting Rhone varietals, with Syrah as one of those. And
Rhone Rangers.
Yeah, like Rhone Rangers down in Paso Robles. And so a lot of people started planting Syrah, and then just not as many people wanted to drink Syrah. They were drinking other things. So sometimes it's hard to find a good Syrah now, and I think we nailed it. So
I think you did. And what I love about this, just as far as like tasting notes for me, and if you've had a sip, I hope you have. Just think about that toasted coconut. I love that, toasted coconut on vanilla ice cream. Just think about that. And I get that on this wine in a powerful way. That's the oak influence coming through. But then it's just like you've got this red fruit, strawberries with that coconut, and it's just it's a party in my mouth. I love it.
Party in your mouth. You're always up for a party.
I'm always up for a party.
Yeah,
I'm a party twin.
So I concur with your assessment.
So I got 1 for 3. Yeah. 1 out of 3 is right so far.
So when I was putting this to the nose earlier before we got started here, I wrote the same thing down. I wrote toasted coconut. I got my tasting sheet out here. Hope you go online and you can fill this out yourself.
We got Sun K's approval, by the way.
Who?
She said, Sun.
Oh, Sun.
She says we love this one too.
Yes.
So cheers. Thanks for watching today.
I believe we used this in their pop-up dinner that we did
for Valentine's Day.
I think we used the Syrah.
I think we did use the Syrah.
But thanks
for
watching, Sun.
If we're wrong.
So I wrote berry fruit and cream. This week, it's been hot. I came home with some popsicles for the kids, and I got this from the Holland Market. Got this like berry creamsicle kind of thing, and the kids loved it. And I think they called it Magic Unicorn or something, whatever that meant. But it was like berries and cream, and that's kind of what this reminds me of. A little of that creaminess that might come from the yeast, the autolysis, and the oak barrel influence, and then definitely I wrote down that toasted coconut influence. That just comes through, and I love how that plays off this wine. What do you think about the finish of this wine?
I love the finish. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't want to offend you, so I have to say something positive, right? But I would say
please
something
offend
positive.
Offend away.
Here's the deal. The finish is a lot of times you'll have a wine that just kind of like just disappears on the back of your palate, and you want something that's going to linger there. And I mean, I haven't had a drink in a little bit here, and I can still taste everything going on in my mouth. It's just keeps on. It's turning from a party to a rave is what's happening, and I'm having a lot of fun.
Start getting a Syrah sucker and just going around
Syrah sucker. Yeah, there we go. I don't want to mention what we used to call those, but I don't know. I don't know what you call them. I call it a sucker.
So yeah, I agree. The even though it's a riper style wine, it still has some acidity, and that's a testament not to my winemaking, but to the Clarksburg AVA. I mean, all these wines are from Clarksburg, and so we'll talk a little bit about that later.
Awesome.
So, I'm glad you like this wine.
Look, if you can't tell, I'm on the verge of sweating through my shirt. That's how hot it is today. But drove in here today. Those vines are looking amazing. So while we enjoy the party in my glass, why don't you tell us a little bit more about heat stress in the vineyard and what's going on? Or did you have more to say about the Syrah?
No, that's good.
I mean, I think
I got a lot to say about heat stress. edutainment
101 right here.
So, I just forgot one thing. Since we're talking about what's going on in the vineyard, let's put this bad boy on.
Yeah.
I just feel cooler when I'm wearing this. It just cools me down.
You definitely turn into the cool twin when you put that hat on. That's good.
So, heat stress. What do the vines do when it's 100 degrees outside? That's what it was today. Well, actually, I don't think it actually got quite to 100 today. It was 102 yesterday. But heat stress is actually the same thing as water stress to a vine. Okay, if the vine is feeling heat stress, it's because it is water stress.
It's dehydrated.
It's dehydrated. So what we do to combat heat stress in the vineyard is to irrigate. So we actually we saw this on every farmer knows what the weather's going to be like next week. So
what is the weather going to be like next week?
Mid 80s in Clarksburg. Is the cools are going to be the lows are going to be in low 50s. It's going to be wonderful weather.
Didn't even have to look it up on his phone.
No, I look at it at least 5 times a day, but because it always changes. You look at it in the morning before you go to work, and then by 8 a.m. It's changed. So anyway, the weather's going to be nice next week. But last week we saw what was happening. We saw what was going to happen this week. So we started irrigating everything, giving it a good shot of water on Thursday last week, and here we are. The vine's been performing very well. We're not seeing the heat stress, the water stress out there. So what's happening in the vine is all about stomatal conductance.
Oh, I remember that from like
stomatal conductance
back in high school.
And
the phloem?
No, the xylem.
Xylem.
So xylem go up, phloem go down.
Yeah.
So the xylem, well, if you think of a plant as a big straw, the stomata are the top of the straw, and those are primarily on the underside of the leaves. And the stomata, when they're happy, when the temperature's right, they're nice and open and full. And when it has a lot of water, basically, the stomata are open. It's 2 large cells that open up and allow for gases and evaporation to come through. So when you remember photosynthesis,
totally. It's the only thing I remember.
What do you know about?
Oh, don't be doing this to me. All right,
What do plants do? What do plants do for our environment?
They take in CO2,
ding, 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 and release
oxygen.
That all happens. Correct answers. Good job, man. You remember that?
That came from way. Actually, it was this side. It came from way back over here. I store that kind of stuff away just for this moment.
So all that photosynthesis, or all the transpiration, the taking in of CO2 and releasing of oxygen that all the plants in the world do, that's all through stomata. And the grapevine leaves have all those stomata underneath the leaves, and as it's evaporating and releasing that O2, it creates a negative pressure at the top, which then sucks up through the straw water from the roots through the xylem. And in doing that, it keeps everything growing up, keeps the leaves nice and turgid, the tendrils. I meant to bring a
I know.
shoot.
I almost want to run out there and get one for you.
Run out there and go.
I'm going.
Go.
I'll be right back.
Right back. This first time we have one of us leaving the set for the set, like I call it the set. So I'll stand in the middle. Don't tell him. So all Philip's secrets are this. No, I'm joking. I won't do that. So as the stomata are open, they draw the water up, keeps everything nice and turgid. The tendrils are turgid, and that means that the vine's happy. Now, when the vines are heat stressed or there's water stress, then the vine sends out this hormone called abscisic acid. I think I'm saying that right, but that tells the stomata to close. These 2 big cells that open and close. So that hormone tells the stomata to close, and then it doesn't. Oh, look at this! Is perfect. This is exactly what I envisioned.
Dude, they're so long. Like,
okay,
the last time you were out here, you didn't see any of this.
So feel this leaf. What would you say the temperature of that leaf is?
I mean, definitely got to be in the 70s.
Well, I'd say it's probably in the 80s. But
that is so cool.
But this is nice and cool. This just came.
This is cooling me off after running.
You didn't have to take the whole thing off, man. Jeez.
No, but look how beautiful it is.
Now, you know how much money that's worth?
I know.
All right, but
a lot of money.
So this
I was just surprised how long it was.
Yeah.
So that's why I figured I'm gonna get the whole thing. Look.
Yeah.
Look, I'm 7 feet tall. Anyway.
Yeah. So all the stomata underneath this leaf is pulling everything up. This is on the vine on the cordon, and so it pulls everything. This whole vine is like a factory, and the stomata are the windows that are letting the breeze through. You did not put that in your mouth, did you?
They're not ready yet. Not ready yet.
Nice and bitter. And
oh my gosh.
So,
but I can tell it's going to be really good someday.
So the stomata, when they open and when they are opened up, the other really important thing they do is they cool the vine down. When they release those gases and they're evaporating, that's evaporative cooling. Just like if you have a swamp cooler or evaporation cooler, you have a fan that's blowing air across a bed of water, picking up some of that water, and it cools. The stomata are doing the same thing. So that's why when it's 100 degrees outside, like it is right now, or almost 100, the leaves are still nice and cool. So they're protecting themselves. And it's just such an amazing thing to me that the vines can do that. If you take this leaf, you go to Home Depot, and you tell them to color match this, and you get some paint, and then you take that paint and you paint this piece of paper right here, and then you leave it in the sun, and then you take a leaf that's just been picked, this leaf will be 20 degrees cooler than that piece of paper because of evaporative cooling. It's such a cool vine thing, or a plant thing. Anyway.
Can I give you kudos here for a sec? A lot of times, now I did step away, and Christy, that was not a prop. I literally went into the vineyard, grabbed a branch.
20 yards that way.
I'm pitting out right now because I ran so hard, okay? I mean, it's just right over there. But, we just got a little bit of that Delta breeze coming in. Nice.
I left that door open over there.
Anyway, you did a great job explaining this, like, in ways that we can, I can understand. Mm-hmm. I mean, you did a great job, so kudos to you on that one. I didn't have to bring up the party bus kind of stuff. I'm like, the evaporative cooler, like, that worked out great. Like, that totally made sense to me. I've never heard that explained that way. That totally helped me out because I failed chemistry and biochem and all that.
Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers.
So the other thing I wanted to say, if you can apply this to your own home gardens, okay? So when I go out in the vineyard, what am I looking for when I see heat stress? When I'm looking for heat stress, I'll go out and I look at the leaves. When the vine's under stress and those stomata close, the leaves. This is a really good example. See, this leaf is nice and open and flat. When it's under stress, the leaves actually close up like this, and they then turn and they face away from the sun. They're just saying, "Ow, don't hurt me."
Totally what I do at the beach.
And so, us gingers. So the leaves will show you that, and you can see it in the vineyard. You're walking by, and your tomato plants will do the same thing. Those leaves will start curling up, and I don't know how much they move because they're not on large tendrils or petioles. But then the other thing I look at is these tendrils. These are the tendrils right here, and this is pointing down. But when you pull this, it snaps back. You see how it snaps back?
I don't know if you can see that, but
well, the tendrils are nice and turgid. They snap back. They're happy, and then I feel the leaf too. Like I said, they're nice and cool. Now if the leaves are hot, the tendrils are super limp and they just fall, and the leaves are starting to curl, then you've missed your chance to water.
Right.
So if you
you can't water when it's already hot. You got to be like that.
You get water on right away, and you just pray a little bit. That's how it works.
Makes a believer out of everybody.
Yeah. So what will eventually happen if you can't get that vine water fast enough? Then you remember I talked about that straw. That is water connected all the way through, right? And when vines get that heat, the stomata close, and when they recognize that they don't have enough water, it's all about kind of water tension and everything in the soil. The vines will close their stomata, and that's just like if you put your finger on top of a straw when it's in your glass and you lift it up, the water stays there. The water's locked in, and so it's protecting itself. Well, over time, if it doesn't have enough water, that water eventually will get out, and you'll have those bubbles, air bubbles form. And when that happens, then you have cell death. And so you have whole sections of leaves and canes, or not canes, but shoots. But canes in the wintertime later when they harden off. But then they'll start dying. And when you see that, then it's you're far gone, and you really end up having a hard time, because when that happens, you lose your chance to photosynthesize. And photosynthesis, the whole purpose of that is to help the vine grow. And then when you do moderate water deficit, you have a moderate deficit in water, then that's okay, because your vine's in balance and creating quality fruit. But you need some water to keep it healthy and alive. And if you don't have enough water to do that, then you're not going to do photosynthesis, and you're not going to produce sugars. And the whole goal is to ripen up this fruit, and as it ripens with more sugar, you're able to have a higher quality wine. So. Was that too much? I may have been too much.
No, I don't think it was too much. Do you think it was too much? I thought it was fine. I think one of the questions I want to ask you was, what happens if you miss it? And I think you hit it. I mean, you hit all the details there, so I don't even have any follow-up questions. And then you guys have follow-up questions, you let us know.
Yeah, the other horrible thing is if you miss it and your vine's in severe heat stress or water stress, then you're affecting the buds that are already on those shoots, and those buds are next year's crop.
So you're
messing up next year's crop too. And it's can be really bad.
So, and that's why David knows the weather next week. They're paying attention. They're looking ahead to make sure they don't screw up next year's crop.
That's it.
Dude, that was awesome. Great info, and I think we're gonna get some more data here in a minute. Let's jump into the next wine.
All right.
This cab.
So the cab.
The cab.
We're going to cab. Let's open up this cab, guys. Why did you choose the cab, Philip?
Okay.
Oh man.
So the cab is, like I said, every one of these surprised me. So usually when you think of cabs, our experience with Cabernet is either a sub $10 bottle of cab, or a $10 bottle of cab that might not be really what you really want, but you know that you can afford it, and you're doing that. And then there's like the cab that you really think of that you want, like that made cab famous, is that big bold Napa cab, right? And so when David said, "Hey, I really want to do a cab," I said, "Well, I really want to have a really good cab in Clarksburg."
Actually, it was Tom who said.
Tom said
we should do a cab, and I said, only if we can find good cab.
Yeah, only if we can do it right. That's what you said. Only if we can do it right, and that's been our standard the entire time. I mean, we've got other outlets for our wine if it's not Silt quality, and so we don't have to. If we make a wine and it's not that quality, we have other outlets for it, so we don't have to bottle it because, well, we already made it. It allows us to ensure quality, and so I haven't even had a taste yet, but
good stuff.
Oh yeah. So I've been talking too much, but so this one surprised me because what Clarksburg isn't going to do a massively bold Napa cab. We don't need to. There's a great market for that, and I appreciate those big bold Napa cabs, and I'll buy one. But what David's done here, I feel, is something a little bit more old world style. Okay, cab a lot of times can have a big hole in the middle of the palate. I don't feel like this cab has that, and so I feel like it's a complete cab, and what I love about this, the big kind of win for me is there's a very good balance between oak and that fruit forwardness, which I know is something very important to you, to make sure that the Clarksburg fruit is shared, because you're a farmer first. And so I feel like I was blown away. I didn't realize that Clarksburg was going to be able to put something together this great, to be honest, truth be told. And when I've taken it out to the marketplace and shared it with other restaurateurs and chefs and somms, Tesh, if you're on right now, Tesh knows, like, wow, like people were like, this came from Clarksburg, and it's you nailed it. I mean, and so it's kind of the almost like David Goliath story. Like, really, Clarksburg's going to try to put out an award-winning cab, and like, yeah, we're going to try to do that. And you came out swinging, and you did a great job. So cheers to you.
Well, thank you. So, yeah, I think I was also surprised. You know, when you get the grapes into the winery, you kind of wait and see what you're going to get. And I was very happy with the way this Cabernet Sauvignon turned out. And it's all Clarksburg fruit, you know, and that's it's a strong showing for Clarksburg fruit. And I agree, it's not going to be that big, bold Napa style. And I don't know that we can really do that in Clarksburg. And a lot of that has to do with microclimates and soil. But what we can do is this, which is more of, I would say, is a Bordeaux style, leaning on that kind of leaner style with some good acidity. And then just a lot of that fruit, and it just has this and it's due to the older barrels that we housed it in for a while. It kind of has a bit of this leathery quality that I really like. And like I said, lots of fruit, balanced tannin. To me, that's what like, we're not making a wine that is super powerful and then you're losing some tannin on the back end because it's super ripe. I mean, this was picked, if memory serves, somewhere around 24 bricks, which isn't crazy. I mean, there's cabs out there that are being picked at 26, 27 bricks, and at 24 bricks we can preserve some of the acidity. The acid is 5.9. It's not super high. The titratable acidity pH is 3.45. You know, we're making something that's kind of trying to go for something that's just balanced all the way around. So, what do you guys think? What are you smelling?
Yeah, let us know what your thoughts are. Ashley, over on Instagram, she says her and Brian are a fan of the cab, and also happy birthday, Ashley.
Happy birthday, Ashley.
I think she turned Ashley, 21, 22? I don't know. Maybe a little bit
Finally
more.
turned 21.
Maybe a little bit more. She might be a couple years older than that.
Okay.
So yeah, what's your thoughts on the cab? I'm hearing people like it. And people were saying hi to everybody. I'm sorry, Chrissy, that you're not enjoying the cab right now. But we can make that. We can fix that.
Wait, she's not enjoying the cab? Does that mean that she doesn't like the cab?
She doesn't have a bottle. She doesn't have a bottle. Of all people, you've been watching every single show, and you don't have it. I'm sorry, but we'll make sure you get one. Larry's comment is that Napa cab is too expensive. You know, I don't try to knock Napa ever, Larry. I will agree that, you know, Napa cabs are more expensive, but they're allowed to be. They're allowed to be.
I just had this conversation with someone about Pinot Noir, actually, and it was, you know, people pay a lot of money for wines, and a lot of times it's just because the wineries are charging that much because that's how much people are willing to pay, you know. And
well, it's that, but there's, you know, let me put the business hat on.
No.
When you're paying what you're paying per ton.
Yeah.
And when you have all the
Napa prices are so
and then you have all the
higher
regulations that Napa has to deal with, and the cost of living in Napa, and the cost of labor in Napa, all that kind of stuff adds up, and then you're competing against, I mean, I don't know how many tasting rooms are in Napa, but you have to be that business model must be a super premium business model. Now the real danger is if you don't know what you're doing and you put out a sub-quality Napa cab and you're trying to sell that for $100 or $200, that's when people call you out and you can really hurt yourself. It's scary out there. So anyway, I think I'm a fan of Napa cabs. So Larry, and I know you are too, Larry. I know you are too. But I think Clarksburg and for that matter, Lodi
makes good cab too.
Lodi makes great cab, and it's at a price point that is a lot more manageable for most people. And I think that's the best place to be in the market, I feel.
Yeah.
So, cheers to this great cab. You've done a great job, David. I think it's time to move on to our data by David. Do you have any data for us today?
Oh, we're already there.
Data by David. Do you have any more to talk about the cab? Do you have more?
No, I like it. I like it a lot. So, data by David. I'm going to keep this hat on. Should I just keep it on the rest of the show?
Sure.
All right. So, data by David. Yesterday, I get this every day. I get farmers like to know about the weather. So every day I do get a weather report from Western Weather. And I was looking at it this morning, and yesterday's temperatures, May 27th.
Yeah, we hit like 104 around here, didn't we?
No, not here. So in Sacramento, it got to 104.
Right.
That is a record temperature in Sacramento. I have 2 weather stations on our ranches here, and our weather stations both hit 102, which is a lot. So, but what struck me, what just completely struck me, was the minimum temperature yesterday in Sacramento was 72 degrees.
What do you mean the minimum?
That's
Are you
the
talking
low.
about the low?
The low.
Okay, the low.
The low temp in Sacramento. And really, that means how cool did it get last night?
Right.
In Sacramento is 72. In Clarksburg, my weather station told me it got down to 55 degrees.
55. Oh, I know the $10 word.
10-cent word.
The 10-cent word. Diurnal shift.
Diurnal
Boom!
shift. Yeah.
God, I'm feeling smart today.
That's
I'm feeling smart.
That's a 47 degree diurnal shift, and it just made me. That just really struck me, and that's because of the Delta breeze.
Terroir.
Yeah, and that's part of our Delta breeze. And when my wife and I lived in Curtis Park, we loved living there. We loved living in Curtis Park. Gosh, how many? 15 years ago. And when we lived there, let's go back even further. In college, we lived in Davis. If Sacramento was 72, Davis was 82. Oh. And then when we moved to Sacramento, my wife said, "Jesus, it's not as hot as I remember in the evenings in Davis." Well, I just said, "Honey, just think if we lived in Clarksburg," and so we loved living in Curtis Park, but it just never seemed to cool down. We never felt that breeze because Sacramento is, the city of trees, and they just block all the breeze.
But they provide great shade.
And there's a lot of cement out there, a lot of parking lots, and that heat just pushes the breeze up. So, but in Clarksburg, we got all the way down with that breeze. We got all the way down. I had my windows open last night. It was beautiful. Oh. I slept so well last night.
I did too.
And that diurnal shift is really what helps the vines recover from the heat. And the heat, actually, when the vines are well irrigated, we're still photosynthesizing and we're still producing sugars. The vines are happy. We're producing quality fruit. And you're getting those ripe characters later on in the season, maybe not so much right now, because the berries are tiny.
They're sour, very sour. I just tasted one.
But you're ripening that fruit, but then at night the vine can recover and you're preserving the acidity. And that is why that huge diurnal shift that we have is why Clarksburg is just one of the great growing regions of California.
Man, that is great. That is it. That's, you know what? I'm gonna call it. That was the best data by David we've had all season.
It was
a great way to end on it.
That was great.
Just if I had wine in my glass, we'd talk about it, or we'd cheers, toast, and everything. Let's move on to that BDX.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, every one of them surprised me. So a BDX, you can go to past episodes and learn more about BDX. It's a Bordeaux style blend, right? And so there's
the Reclamation Blend.
Yeah, there's 5, maybe 6 varietals that grow in the Bordeaux region that you use to make a Bordeaux style blend. And so David and Tom said, "Hey, we got to go after this." And again, David's answer was,
"As long as we can make it good."
Yeah, as long as we can make it good. And so, what's cool about this one is we've been tasting this. I remember the first time we were in the conference room, David brought this in, and he's got this same light that he has in his eye right now. This same grin. He's like, "Guys, you got to check this out. Check this out." And so we taste it, and we're like, "Man, that is good." Like, we were blown away, and that was back when it was still in not tank, but barrel, and David figured out his blend, and he's like, "I got it. This is it," and we were blown away. And then we've been tasting it like not weekly, but like every few weeks we've been tasting it.
It's getting better and better,
and it has just been exploding. I mean, it's just so good.
Oh yeah. So why do you like this wine, Philip?
So again, surprised me because I'm not a student of Bordeaux style blends, so I've started drinking them and everything. I think a Bordeaux style blend typically for me is a lot more on the lighter side. This isn't quite as light as other Bordeaux style blends that I've had, but from Bordeaux,
yeah.
yes. So I should call them Bordeaux's.
Yeah.
But what I felt like, and this goes back, you've heard me gush over David's abilities here before, and he gets all embarrassed and everything.
Yeah,
but so David has told me when he gets to make a blend, he gets to use the full toolbox. And David did it again, and he had an image in his head of what he was trying to create, and he went out and created it. And I've talked in past episodes on how this guy's amazing brain works. But this is such a complete wine, and there's no like holes anywhere on the palate. There's this great, just great finish. There's a great acidity, but also a good tannin that's backed up with so much fruit. I really should say, this is the rave. The Cab is the party, or the Syrah is the party. This is the rave. I mean, this is just. I'm like, we were tasting beforehand, and we got to the Bordeaux blend, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just so much fun, and it's such a complete wine. And one other thing is, and maybe this is part of the ask, so you can get into the details, but I feel like where maybe the Cab didn't quite have the pyrazine at all, there's just a hint of pyrazine in this one that kind of, especially on the front of the palate and on the nose, that adds a little bit to it, more complexity. I think there's more complexity going on in this BDX than in the Cab. Right. Would that be accurate?
Yeah. I would say that you're right on all fronts.
Am I right that you're a genius?
No, you don't have to say that. No, I'm far from it. But when if you look up the Reclamation flight tasting, you'll learn a lot more about not only the label but all the wines. But I will say, I'm sure everyone's asking, or wondering what's in this blend, and it is 40% Cabernet Franc, 40% Merlot, and 20% Cabernet Sauvignon. Woo. Anyway, so
and Tom grew the Cab Franc.
Yes,
Tom is our business partner. If you're just tuning in, and Tom Merwin.
So the reason I made that blend, and this was one of the whole things that was kind of like this epiphany when I was at my blending table, also known as my dinner table, was I kept trying to make this a Cabernet Sauvignon blend. Wanted to be left bank Bordeaux. And once I got it through my skull that, hey, we're more right bank here, because Tom grows this amazing Cab Franc. And I said, let's make the Cab Franc shine. And so I started leaning my blends and everything over toward the Cab Franc, and then the Merlot was excellent too, and the Cab Sauv is excellent in its own way, but because the Cab Sauv that's in this is the same Cab Sauv that's in the Cabernet Sauvignon, but I wanted to make sure that the two wines were different enough, and then I wanted the blend to be a bit bigger and more body, more tannin, and so all three of those wines play off each other. And that slight pyrazine character, I think, is actually coming from the Cab Franc, maybe a bit more of the Merlot. They both have some pyrazine, but the Cab Franc just has this dustiness.
Dusty,
that is so nice. And anyway, it just all three of them really help fill out the palate of the wine, and just a big. It's not like this over the top juicy palate, but it just covers the whole palate. Yeah. It's becoming. It has become my favorite Silt wine.
It is. It's my favorite, and I'm glad.
Not to say I hate to say that because our Reclamation Red, which is Petit Syrah based, is also a wonderful wine, and that was like the first child. This is the second child. And
we all love the second. Never mind. I didn't say that. No.
We all love Matthew and Cohen.
And Cohen equally. No. One thing I was going to say also back on the Syrah. What got me on the Syrah was that coconut. And you get a little bit of that coconut in here too. Yeah. And that's that oak treatment, of course.
Oak influence, yeah. And that would have been from the Merlot. The Merlot had.
And so I was saying on the, one thing I've noticed as I've matured in my wine drinking, I've moved away from the bigger, heavier, big stuff, and that's I think why I like the Clarksburg Cab so much. Something I can enjoy on the patio, and enjoy a glass of wine by itself. I mean, wine is intended to be enjoyed with food, but the reality is, we want to enjoy wine anytime we want to enjoy wine. We want to enjoy wine on the boat. We want to enjoy wine on the patio, at the pool, right? And so, one of the things I love about the BDX versus the Reclamation Red blend, I feel like, you can go watch the episode of the Reclamation series. Really great. I think it was one of our most viewed episodes. And we go through our entire Reclamation series, which it's our super premium wines. That Reclamation Red is a powerhouse. That thing needs to be, I felt like that needs to be aged for another 5, maybe even 10 years. The BDX, just a little bit, the tannin's there.
I don't know, man. I before you say that, this can age for
totally. I'm not saying this doesn't need to age. It's just the Reclamation Red. If you're looking for a super big, heavy, Napa Cab style, something that's really big that you want to have with a big steak, that's the one. This one, we've opened that bottle. I'm taking it to the pool after the show, and I'm gonna finish it off because I chose our wines today. This is Phil's finale flight.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try to say that too many times. Okay, so with all that, I think, guys, this is the last wine.
Last wine.
This is the last wine of season 1. Why don't you give me a little bit more of this BDX? Because we're gonna finish the show with it. Thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, we got a few minutes here to catch up on some questions. I'll try to see if there's anything going on here in the question or in the news feed here. One question Eric Allen asked, he's my buddy in Texas, is if you are a wizard. And I would say yes. David is a wizard.
No, my hat's not pointy enough. It's just I got the rim, but not.
Nicole, I'm sorry also. She says, I'm so sad I only found you guys on the season finale. This is great. Well, you know what?
Go back and look at
Go find our YouTube channel. Oh, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, it would help if we're kind of new to the YouTube channel thing. We did start a YouTube channel. Every episode that we've done is on the YouTube channel, and I think of the 10 flights we've done, I think 8 of them are still. You can still purchase the entire flight. So you could purchase the flight, and
why can't you purchase the other 2?
We sold out.
We sold out.
We sold out.
Pet Nat.
We sold out of the Pet Nat, and I can't remember what the other one is. But you can go ahead and purchase these flights on our website for the entire season, and then go rewatch these episodes. A lot of fun in these episodes. David, what was your favorite of this entire season? Can you give me like a favorite moment? I'm putting him on the spot. I didn't prepare him for this question, but is there a favorite moment from this?
Honestly, so my favorite episode is probably the Reclamation series. Go back and watch it. The wines are fantastic, but I think my favorite moment just happened this show with Philip running out to the vineyard to get this. That was awesome.
That was cool.
I was
thinking it.
I was finally in the spotlight for once.
David, you're all in the spotlight. You're always the spotlight, dude. Everybody says they love watching you. I'm I'm the garnish. That's all I am. I'm the garnish. I'm the little, add a little spice to things every once in a while. No, that might be one of my favorites too. I
love that we have a show where he could actually go do that. Just run out to the vineyard
really cool. Live, right? That was not planned. I just was sitting here thinking, God, why didn't you bring
I was
a shoot?
totally gonna do that. I thought about that earlier, and then
I think my favorite, one of my favorites, we started this we just quickly got this thing up and running when we had to shut down, and what I think what's really cool, and this maybe isn't a favorite moment, but it's a favorite thing about this whole series. A lot of people know Silt Wine Company through Shannon. All right, everybody give kudos to Shannon. Shannon is my wife. She's our tasting room manager, and we had her on episode 2 or 3.
No, it was later than that.
Was it later?
Because people kept asking for Shannon.
Yeah, and they're like, "Where's Shannon?" And Shannon, you know, she is so humble. She like doesn't want to get in front of the camera, and I finally put my foot down. I was like, "Everyone wants to see you." And she came on and started. She participated. We do a segment called "That's Awesome." Oh, well, that's awesome, and she helped with that. But one of the things that I think is so cool is so many of you guys with Silt Wine Company know Silt Wine Company via Shannon, and we want it that way. I mean, that was the intention. We're out doing everything else, and we want to support Shannon. But one of the really cool things is a lot of you never knew David. And you guys got to get, over the last 10 episodes, the real life David Ogilvy, and, you know, all farmer hat and all. And you got to see the wizard. You got to see the genius.
Well,
and you know, it's really a gift that, you know, a lot of wineries don't have a winemaker that is as involved in this kind of experience.
Well, I'm not involved in the tasting room as much as maybe other winemakers are.
Right. And well, I think
actually
I don't know about that. I think the tasting room.
I don't know many winemakers who go into the tasting room very often.
Exactly. That's my point. And so you guys got to see David, like, get to know his personality. He's a wild and crazy guy. I mean, he's a fun dude. You got to be pretty fun if you make wine for a living.
Let's keep this going.
And you got to ask him questions, which is so cool because you know, when we do these live, you get to actually engage with the winemaker, and I thought that was just so fun. So kudos to you, and cheers, dude. We did it. Season 1 in the books, man.
Good job leading it, man. That's good.
It's been a lot of work and it's been a lot of fun.
Let's do a final toast.
I think so. You're up. Oh no, wait.
Oh no.
We need to give a few updates here.
Oh yes, updates.
So the first update, our final update, is one of the updates is opening. Everybody's always asking about opening, and we are not open to the public. That's never been our business model. And so to show up to Silt Wine Company, you always have to be invited. You're our guest, and we like to invite you just like we would invite you into our living room. And for that reason, you won't see us
invited.
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
We are very club member centric. And so if you're a club member here at Silt Wine Company, you got an email yesterday from Shannon, and you've been invited to come to our tasting room. And you have to go through a booking process. We've got a bunch of hoops to jump through. They're not as big of hoops as I thought they were going to be.
Open table.
So we're using open table privately. There's a private mode. So you won't be able to find us if you search it. You have to have the link. And so if you're a club member, it's about plenty of you. And we already have a bunch of reservations this weekend, which is great. And so look for that invitation. If you are a club member and you did not receive it, please contact us right away. You can call Shannon. You have her contact info. And then also, if you want to become a club member, you can do that through our website, and of course, you will get that invitation as well. But that's the open update. There's a lot of wineries in Clarksburg. Our mission is to help you enjoy Clarksburg as much as we do. There's a lot of wineries in Clarksburg that are open to the public that will be opening this weekend. Come on down, find them, and enjoy Clarksburg. Just come on out and enjoy the wines here in Clarksburg, California.
And when they come, what can our guests expect?
So our guests will, just going into a lot of the details that are in the email that we don't have to go through entirely, but we will be serving some food. There will be some food involved, and we now have apparel to be purchased. Well, everybody can purchase apparel on our website. Our wonderful Alex has helped put our cross sales program together, and so you can purchase apparel there. And then, of course, we have spaces everywhere in our tasting room that are by reservation. We are going to be operating very similar to a restaurant, and so you'll be sat at a table that you will be able to purchase wines for your table and your guests. And of course, we always say club members and their guests. So if you're not a club member, find a club member. So be friendly. So and then coming up, we always say coming up, and we always talk about the next episode, and we have those wines sitting right here. Instead of those wines, we have some of our cross sale items. But Coming up, we've got season 2. I'm committed to a season 2. I'm committing you to a season 2.
Yeah.
And because you're just...
It's a lot of fun.
It's fun, and you're gold. But we're going to do a season 2. And one of the great things, business moment here, one of the great things that happens in trying times like this season of COVID that we've been in is we learn more about who we are. We learn more about operational, like we've done things that we haven't done before. We've got a direct-to-consumer shipping and online sales channels going now that we didn't really have before, and we've gotten better at it. And I think we've had fun. Have you guys had fun? Since we've had so much fun, we should keep doing this. So we're gonna keep it up. Season 2 is coming probably. I'm gonna shoot for the fall, but it might be in the winter. So we got to make sure we got all the wines dialed in.
We have to get the wines.
We have to get the wines dialed in.
We're bottling some more wine soon.
So with that, final toast.
Final toast?
Go for it.
Final toast. I'm looking right at them. I got to give a toast to Alex and Ethan, who have just helped us so much.
Come on out. Come
over around.
Be seen.
They have been at each episode been helping us behind the camera. It's so weird to look at the cameras / phones with them on this side. So nice work, folks. Thank you so much.
Did an amazing job
for all your help. You taught us a lot and made us better and better at this as we've gone along. So thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Do you guys want to say anything on the spot, Alex?
I came to the team March 1st, right before
Yeah, that was funny.
all things COVID hit, and Phil said, because he was gone, and he was like, "How about this virtual tasting thing?" And I said, "I'm for it. I'm ready to go." And so I've just been working really hard.
Your job
I'm glad to be part of the team.
morphed, pivoted
Yes.
quite quickly.
And that's one thing about Alex. It's like whatever we say, hey, we really need to do this. Alex has just jumped in with both feet and said, "We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out." And so thank you so much, Alex.
And I'm thankful for my husband to be the second cameraman.
Yes.
Anyone watching on Instagram,
We're a package deal.
We're a package deal, basically. Anyone watching on Instagram, that's his phone doing all the filming, and so
Cheers.
cheers to that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank
it
you so much.
Thank you.
And such a great
All
job.
right.
Well, I want to give a toast to my final toast for the final episode of season 1 is to you. All of you who have watched these episodes, that have purchased these flights, you have kept our business alive. You have kept our employees working.
Thank you.
And you have kept enjoying Clarksburg. You've participated in our mission. When you share these videos, when you tell your friends about this, about these virtual tastings, several of you have purchased these flights after you've watched the video, you've purchased the flights and sent it to your family and friends all over the nation. And when you've done that, you've participated in our mission to help people enjoy Clarksburg as much as we do. And so you are the true winners of season 1 of the Clarksburg Silt Show. You have made this happen, and so with that, we toast you all. So,
Thank you.
with that, from the Clarksburg Silt Show, the Clarksburg Silt Show.
Yeah.
From the Clarksburg Silt Show, in our final episode, we say thank you for watching and enjoy Clarksburg.
Sign off.